So, coming to the diverse cases. So, if people are married in other than US, like India or any other country, so can they take divorce here?
Excellent area. These days, what is happening in the world now, because of my firm and all over the world, most of the divorces are happening in technology workers. Majority of divorces are happening in technology men and technology women, not otherwise. Why? Because of their lifestyle, because of their stress, because they are independent and everything. So the issue of divorce is now, what is happening is, for example, if people get divorced, people get married in India. A lot of time people come to America on a student visa, they meet somebody, or they meet somebody in India, or they meet somebody in matrimonial sites, they decide to get married in India. Either it could be a Hindu marriage or a Christian marriage or a Muslim marriage, because our families want to see the marriage. So once you go to India or get marriage registered and the Hindu Marriage Act, you register the marriage, but you come back to America. But you've been living in America for 5 to 10 years. The law in America says it is called jurisdiction, where you live. Where is your matrimonial home? For example, if your matrimonial home is Virginia, if they're living in Richmond, if the husband and are living in Virginia, in Richmond, and if they decide to get divorced, the Richmond courts will have jurisdiction. Number one. Number two, because you got married under the Hindu law, because your marriage is registered under the Hindu law in India, and if you guys are both are Indians, if you're not American citizens, because the Indian law applies also, you can also file in Indian courts. But both parties have to accept the jurisdiction of the Indian courts. So this is called jurisdiction. It's a very complex area. In jurisdiction, there are three things. One is called personal jurisdiction. What does it mean? Two human beings are living in that court jurisdiction. Let's say a husband and wife, they're living in Richmond area. Husband and wife have a house, they bought a house, or they rented a house, they're living in Richmond. So the courts in Richmond would have jurisdiction. That is called personal jurisdiction. And two, in Richmond, you're living in a certain county. That county court will have a jurisdiction on you. That is called territorial jurisdiction. You're living in that territory. That is called territorial jurisdiction. Third thing, even though you married in India, but you're living like a husband and wife in Richmond and Virginia, you fought between, you guys had a fight like husband and wife, you decided to separate yourself, so subject matter jurisdiction. So one is called personal jurisdiction, you both are living in that jurisdiction. Second is you're living in the territory of that court. And third is called, because you fought in a domestic violence or something, the subject matter is in that state, that particular city, it's called subject matter jurisdiction. So those courts will have jurisdiction. It's a very complex area.
But they can take in
Yes.
in their own place.
If they want to both go and get divorced in India, they can do it. If they don't both choose it, if they want to do it, if one party wants to file it in Richmond or in that particular county, they can go to that county court, they can file a divorce, they can get divorced in America too.
So when you said domestic violence, so women who are going under domestic violence, even men also, like so these days, so whoever is going with this domestic violence, what are the first steps to file for a divorce, or collect the evidence?
Okay, let us discuss in two aspects. One aspect is somebody is having a domestic violence. First of all, what is actually a domestic violence? A domestic violence is a violence between a husband and wife.
It could be mental.
It could be girlfriend and boyfriend also, or it could be between two friends as well. It could be physical, it could be mental, and it could be financial. And there are different types of violence. For example, if you see physical violence, somebody coming and hitting you, slapping you, assault, that's a physical attack. Somebody comes and hurts you physically, that's a physical assault, physical violence. Somebody also calls you with names, and they call you, oh, you're a fatty, or you're shorty, you're a blackie, all those things, and you're constantly torturing that woman or a man on mental level. or you don't talk to that person, you don't eat with that person, or you lock that person inside the house and you go and you mentally torture and you say that, oh, don't talk to your family, you have to talk in front of me, I will not give you phone. These are all mental. So there is a mental assault, there's a physical assault. Sometimes these guys who bring wives from India, they don't open a bank account for the wife. This is financial assault. They don't give money to them, and they don't give them driving license. They don't open a bank account. They don't give money. They will also say, oh, I'm bringing the money, you're sitting and eating. And you're not bringing any money on the table. Or you did not bring any dowry. This is also financial, assaulting somebody with finances. It's a financial distress. You're assaulting somebody, not giving them enough money. You're saying you cannot drive and you cannot come out and speak to my friends. You cannot wear certain clothes. All those things comes in mental. So physical and mental and financial. And sometimes they also threaten saying that if you complain to the police, I will cancel your visa and send you back to your country. This is immigration also. So there are so many aspects of domestic violence. So what are the rights for the parties? For example, for a woman or a man. The first thing is the woman has a right to call cops by 911. That's one thing. And two, sometimes because we don't have access, you can also go to your doctors and tell them, to your female doctors or the male doctors. They will record your domestic violence and they will report to the police. And they will report to the social worker. And they will report to this city. You don't have to say. So that's the second thing you can do it. And third thing, there are some non-profit agencies in America, they work with you. If you call them, they will come to your house. They will come, they bring the social worker. Sometimes it could be a child abuse, father is abusing the children, or sometimes mother is abusing the children. So you can call them, the non-profit guys will come, the child support staff will come, social worker will come, and they will call the police, or they will call different agencies. Sometimes they will also give you a shelter for the children and for the mother. And it happens with the men also. Even men get domestic violence. We get cases, 1 or 2% even men get assaulted by women. I have a client recently, this woman married 3 times, and this guy is the 3rd victim, my client. This woman married 3 times, 3 different men, and took away all the houses of 3 men. My guy is a victim. He lost close to $1 million now. So there are 1-2% men are also there. So where do they go? They can go and give a complaint to the police. Sometimes when the police don't take the complaint, you can go and give a complaint to the district attorney. What is a district attorney? They are called prosecutors in our country. You can also give complaint to them. So there are various agencies in America you can give complaints. Coming back to the evidence, many times husbands or wives, they record conversations of husbands. If the husband is shouting, the woman will record the conversation. And sometimes the husband records the conversation. And sometimes, most of the times, husbands are having cameras their wives don't even know. All these technology guys, they do it. And I get all these, we get all these calls from clients to us. So, these men, they control women. Sometimes women also do that. But it's only 1%. Most of the times, it's men that do it. So they have to collect evidences, number one. Number two, when in some states, when you're recording a conversation of a wife or a husband, without the consent, without the knowledge of the wife or a husband, that information which you collected or which you recorded in your phone, inadmissible. That can be taken. So every state has its own laws. So what my opinion would be, anybody who's watching your show, they should do research and see every state has its own law in terms of domestic violence. And two,
to collect the legitimate evidence.
Yes, to collect the legitimate evidence. And the second aspect is immigration aspect. Most of the times when the men say, oh, because you came on my visa, children on my visa, I'm earning money, you better keep shut your mouth. And they abuse women. So at that time, they can also get work authorizations under the battered spouse syndrome. They can get green cards. My law firm is doing for a lot of people, we're doing it, battered spouse syndrome. And even H-1B guys, wives, they can also get work authorization. I've got some work authorization from a firm for many women without the help of husband. So immigration wise also you can get some benefit.
Options.
Option. Sometimes you're a victim of a crime. We have our firm has some clients. The husband used fire and knife, cut the wife's hands and children's hands. When you're a victim of a crime, the American government, if you support and if you cooperate with the government, you will also get green cards as a victim of crime.
So is that vawavisa and uvisas or the...
Yes, that's VAWA is for people, Violence Against Women Act, that is only applicable for the husband who is to be American citizen. If the American husband is not an American citizen, that doesn't apply. It only, the U visa applies for the non-immigrant, which is U visa, which you said. And these days, we are getting also clients from my firm that employers without the knowledge of employees, they're filing multiple registrations. So one day they're getting a letter from the immigration, their visa has been revoked. So what is their remedy now? My firm has filed a tvisa for them. These are victims of crimes. And they can stay in the country without an H1. They get work authorization. Yes. So there are different types of visas available. They have to get in touch with this competent immigration lawyers. And they should go and see them, talk to them. Because immigration, there are a lot of specialties. Somebody who does H1 and L1, these are called business immigration lawyers. They might not know other type of visas. So they should see the lawyers who does U visas, battered spouse visas, or somebody who does immigration litigation lawyers. They would know more than guys who does H1s and L1s. So this specialty again, subspecialty in immigration law. So your audience, they should do research and get in touch with lawyers who specialize in those areas and go to them, hire them and get your status back, protect your interest.